Hello, hello. Good
Hello, how
evening,
are you?
everyone. Welcome to another episode, conversation, chat, talking time with
Yeah,
Unique Couple Sunday Night Live. So good to have you. So if you're here with us, watching, joining us live, go ahead and put Live Squad in the comments. And if you're watching the replay, hey, go ahead, hashtag replay. We want to hear from you. We want you to be actively engaged. So if you have those burning questions, type them in the comments. If you have a comment to make, go ahead. You want to contribute to the conversation. We love hearing from you. Go ahead and do that. I am Linda Wright Patrick, one part and co founder of Unique Couples, along with my husband, Vito Patrick. And I am all excited for this topic and for our special guest. We were just kicking it off. Gwen is all excited, and we're
yes,
sharing on this topic. And so, if you're here, you need to go ahead and invite somebody else, someone who
yes.
is married, someone who is maybe all excited about their marriage or maybe not so excited. But this topic will definitely get you all
Mhm.
excited about taking your relationship to the next level. We're talking about
Yeah,
how to satisfy your spouse. Now, usually, Gwen, I would do this and we'd have these kind of conversations. We'd do this with our Unique Couples After Dark. So we've had those type of conversations. And then, of course, when we do our Think Like a Mistress, when it's just, us ladies,
mm,
we would have that conversation. But tonight we want to talk about how to satisfy your spouse and kind of like look at, both ways. Okay, both ways. So, men, you get to hear as well.
that's right.
During this session, you get to hear as well. And then, of course, our wives, you get to go ahead and practice right away. That's how you make it
Exactly.
stick right away. So we have Gwen with us, and I am loving this. And guess what? So even though Gwen is uh, and a spiritual midwife, mentor, conference speaker, intercessor, prophetess,
Amen.
founder of Gwen Lee Ministries. She is passionate, nurturing, a prolific
Amen.
woman of God, and an ordained minister. In spite of all of these things and being a transformational, distinguished leader, she can
Love
still
it.
talk about how to satisfy your spouse. So,
Amen.
ladies, if you are a believer, if you're a Christian, you're a woman of faith, guess what? We still have to satisfy our men,
You do.
right? You
You
still
do.
have to satisfy your man, right? And so I
Hey,
am so glad that we are going to hear it directly from a minister, and hopefully we're not frozen or anything, and we can really get this conversation out. So, Gwen, tell us a
amen.
little about yourself. How
Okay.
long have you been married? Any kids? What is it like? What
Yes.
is going on with
Oh
you?
my God. It is a roller coaster, but an amazing roller coaster. I have been married for 22 years. I have
Ooh,
6 children.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. We have 6 children. Now, the
Ooh,
uniqueness about that is 5 belong to me alone. One belongs to my husband, but he has raised all 5 from the age of 36 to the age of 17. So we have a
wow.
very unique marriage, and I love it.
Awesome. So six
Yes,
kids. Wow. Awesome.
6.
Awesome. Yes. Ooh. Well, how okay, so you had these kids before you met him. What was that
I
all
did.
about? And then we can get right into
Okay.
uh-huh.
So, we all have a past. I don't care how saved we are, how long you've been saved. You still have a past. So when I met my husband, I already had 5 children that were, somewhere else. And then had my tubes tied, but he wanted a child. So I gave him his only child, but that was a blessing. Um, a lot of times when you go into a relationship before you even get married, when you have that many kids, most of the time men will shy away from you. But I think it was just the glory of God and the character, the boldness, the honesty, that just connected us because we're opposites. He's quiet, I'm loud. you know, we're just opposites, but it worked. Like I said, we've been together 24 years, but married 22 years.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So you said you had like we have so much different things to like branch off into with this
Yes, a
conversation
lot.
and for more conversations to come. So you said
Yes,
your tubes were tied after the fifth
yes.
child and
After the
you
fifth one.
so you untied the tubes and had the sixth one.
literally we had to pay because insurance doesn't pay for you to untie your tubes. You have to pay that out of pocket. So we set up what we call a baby fund because he had no children. So we set up a baby fund where we save money in our checking account until we got to the amount, went to the doctor, paid to have it done. We lost the first one, and then we got the second one, and she's now 17 years old. And a blessing, like literally a blessing. But I didn't want any more children. That's the crazy part. I was done. After 5 kids, who needs any more? But it's just been an amazing roller coaster with all 6 of them. And I have 7 grandchildren. The last grandbaby is 10 days old. I'm a whole grandmother out here, y'all.
Wow, wow. Oh my goodness. That is amazing. That is definitely a topic for another discussion.
Another day. Yes,
we really have to get back and talk about that because I have known personally of persons who've, ventured off and wanted to do that route and, the ups and downs. And it's like, you never know. You might think today, well, I'm never going to have any more. I don't want any.
Yes.
But life can just throw so many unexpected curveballs your way that you can't really tell. Yeah, you can't really tell. So we're talking tonight. Those of you who are joining us, we have Gwen Lee all the way from Dallas, Texas, and we are talking tonight about how to satisfy your spouse. So yes, what can you tell us? What can you tell us? How do we satisfy our spouse?
Well, let's be raw, guys. A lot of times when you save, you don't want to talk about the main thing is satisfying your spouse. But the number one thing is going to be communication. The second thing is going to be that bedroom. Because when we get saved, we tend to throw off the old clothes. We tend to throw off the old us. And it's no longer about, let me please my spouse. It's about, I can't do this. I can't do that, But I believe that my marriage has lasted because of me being saved, but not being so holy that I forget to please my spouse and understand what it is that he needs while he's still accepting the new transforming of myself. Because when I met my husband,
don't go anywhere. Just like stay right there. Let's drop that right there. So I'm not just so holy that I cannot please my spouse. Like drop that in someone's spirit. Because sometimes we think, oh no, I am and I can't. But the reality is you are a wife.
You can. Because remember, when we get saved, even though this is just a conversation, we stop certain conversations. But those are conversations that you still need to have because you can be with your spouse 5 days, 5 years, 20 days. You will still never know your spouse until you keep going, until you communicate and know what pleases them. And one of the biggest taboos, ladies, and I'm speaking directly to you ladies, one of the biggest taboos that you have got to let go of is the full sexual pleasing of your spouse in the bedroom. You still have to communicate what they like, what you don't like. Y'all have to be in agreement and you just got to make it happen. And it has to be mutual. It can't be, I just want to satisfy him or I just want to satisfy her and forget about yourself. You have to do it mutually together. And that will definitely make, build your marriage, build your relationship, and it'll definitely keep your spouse satisfied in all areas.
So so the tendency would be, okay, yes, I'm satisfying my spouse.
But I'm not satisfying
and then I guess you get tired of it because it's not reciprocated. Like you don't get any satisfaction because you haven't had that talk. You haven't had that conversation.
Yes.
And we usually advise couples, guess what? If you have to do it under the cover of darkness and you're in your bedroom with the light off and have that conversation because you're too afraid to talk about sex or to talk about satisfying and what you need in broad daylight or with the lights on, talk about it with the lights off,
That's right.
But you have to talk about, like you said, have that mutual conversation where we're talking about both of our needs being met. And that's definitely a conversation you need to have. Awesome. Awesome. Yes. Okay. So what else you want to share with ladies? I hope you are listening. Take notes. I'm definitely taking notes because guess what? We can all learn, and then when you practice those little new things and take that into your relationship, that is where the spice comes in. Because guess what? It's not the old me. It's me adding something new and surprising.
That's right. That's it. Because when you're with a spouse, a lot of times we tend to think of self, but you have to be selfless when you're in a relationship because it's not about you. It's about y'all. It's no longer about one, but it's about two that has become one. And so communicating with them will make it a lot easier for you. My husband doesn't communicate, but I over communicate it, so you have to make sure that it's mutual. There's boundaries set. And again, just it's about pleasing each other, because like you said, a relationship won't last if one is satisfied. Listening to them. I'm a talker. I was just naturally a talker. But through the years, I had to learn to not just hear his voice, I had to learn to hear his words. That's what's going to please your spouse, because putting their attention, putting their needs, understanding what they want, not belittling what they say. Even if a man asks you for a particular way of him wanting sex, you can't knock it down. You have to communicate with him. Let him know what your needs are, what your desires are, what you don't want, what you do want, and it'll work. It'll work.
Yeah, going back to that, when he expresses what he would like, so many times I think we get caught up with, oh no, this isn't
Yes.
something that should happen. Oh,
Right.
I mean, I'll just say it. Like for me, everything goes except for, listen, you ain't bringing nobody else in my bedroom. So it
That's
could
it.
be me and you can do whatever,
That's it.
and we'll get our stuff on and freak on.
Exactly. That's
But it's
it.
me and you,
But you
nobody
can't
else.
be wowing,
Okay. So
Yes.
I mean, there may be issues and things that you say, okay, we're not crossing this boundary, but have those conversations. So outside of that, if you've had those conversations, with boundaries and okay, these particular things, like, yeah, we won't do, and you come to an agreement. But now when your husband comes and he's expressing this is what he wants, don't be scornful, don't
That's
scorn him.
it.
Oh, you want to do that? Why? And
Yes.
we can do it, ladies. Like, we'll put on the
Yes.
face. I mean, we're talking to the men too, because your wife may come and she want to try some new position
Exactly.
or something, and you might be like, where you get that from? You so nasty, girl. But no.
That's not
So
nasty.
we don't want to be scornful. We don't want to belittle anyone. We don't want to make anyone feel like their needs can't be met or something is
That's
wrong with
right.
what they are requesting.
That's
Be
important.
adventurous, at least try, right?
That's it. Yes. One of the things I tell all my children are grown, but the 17-year-old, okay? One of the things that I teach my children, although that wasn't who I was when I grew up, is sex is a beautiful thing when it's done with your spouse. Because,
Mhm.
like you said, anything goes other than for me, another person, or toys. It's going to be natural and it's going to be, expressive, because I hate to use this term, but we just going to be raw, ladies. I call it the lazy booty. It's when your husband wants to make love to you, but you all mad, you all upset, so you just lay there. It has to be mutual at all times for them to be pleased. Even if you have an argument, God gives us sex for a reason. It brings us ties. It's supposed to bring us closer, but it's not just sex, though. It's not just sex. You can communicate in the bedroom through your sex without even words. But a lot of women think like what you just said, oh, that's nasty. I don't want to do that. Just express it. Just talk to them, because what I tell women is, if you want, somebody else will. Although that's not permissible,
Yeah.
it's not what's supposed to be done. But let's keep it real. I made a post early this morning. It just hit my spirit. And it was, if he will cheat with you, he will cheat on you.
Ooh, say
So
that again. Say that
that's just
again.
reality. If they will cheat with you, they will cheat on you. So as women of God, we got to kind of get out of that street mentality of this is nasty, this is raw, this is no good. Oh, I don't like that, because the truth of the matter is that's your spouse. And that's how you're going to please them. You know what I mean? Listening to what they feel, not belittling what they feel. Just like you said, being adventurous, making it, make it work. You know what I'm saying? And you'll be surprised how that little bit goes a long way.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that little. And we
Just
talk
little.
about that, the little in our Unique Couples Marriage Club. We talk about those drips of love, the things that you do on a
Yes.
daily basis. Because sometimes we think, oh, I mean, we decide that, you know what, it's just once a month. That's all you're getting.
Right. Right.
Take it or leave it. That's what he gets, or
Yep.
that's what she gets. Take it or leave it. But it can't just be that. It's the
It
little
cannot.
things that you do over
It is.
time that is going to make the difference in your marriage. And if you have connection with your spouse just limited to, okay, this point in time and that's it, you are going to miss out. Both of you are going to
You
miss
will.
out on satisfying each other.
You will. Because sex is not all there is. That it's not just sex, but sex is a vital part of it. But like you said, you're gonna miss out on some things if you don't have that communication and that trust. Because what is the most thing that we think about when you get married, when you're in a relationship, when you want to be married, when you're a couple? It is the love. And the reason I say it's the love, because the love will also make you make sure that you're making love the right way in the bedroom as well. But when they love you, those little things will allow them to still love you when you change 10 years from now. Because
Mm,
we can't love just what we see now. Like for me, I've been with my husband 24 years. If you see a picture of me 24 years ago, I don't look the same. You have kids, you have weight gain, you have illnesses, you have life changes. Will that love, the genuine love for that person, will it sustain time? But the bedroom is a part of that time. And if you exclude that, you won't make it to that time. I
mm.
just think it's impossible unless there are medical reasons, health reasons, or just some reason that you can't. But once a month won't sustain them.
Hmm.
Every 2 weeks may not sustain them. It's just depending on your particular partner. And that's how you have to connect with your partner. That's why. So you will know exactly what they need so that you can sustain the relationship.
That's it, right? Connection matters. Connection
Connection
matters
matters.
because
It does.
if you're not communicating, you're not connecting, you don't know what they want and they don't know what you
No.
want.
Mm-mm.
It's hard to satisfy if you don't know. So you have to
That's right.
definitely have that
It
conversation
does.
because nothing happens without the big C.
That's true.
Nothing. I mean, and C in many different ways, and nothing happens
Does not.
without that.
That's
It's
right.
it's as simple as that.
Very simple. It sounds more simpler, but it is actually simple, because like I said, I was a over communicator with my husband. I was that woman who, if he says this, no, 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 that's not it. It's this. But I had to learn to listen to him. I had to learn to see what his needs was. And it wasn't just about how I felt for the moment, because I
Mhm.
was one of those, if I wasn't in the mood, it wasn't happening. But I learned that it wasn't about me. It was about us. The
Yeah.
little small things he do, like helping me, touching me, giving me a hug, just looking at me if he walks by the bedroom. All those things are in pleasing your spouse because you can communicate with your eyes. One of the things that I love, ladies, y'all may think it's not cool, but it is. I literally love if my husband just walks by me and just pat me, just tap that little backside. Wow, thank you, baby. Okay, makes you still feel good about yourself because that's important as well. Through your relationship, you change. But you need to know that though you've changed with your appearance, though you've been through some things, that they are still attracted to you. And that's what keeps
Mhm.
you right where you are. And it helps you to keep building because they still attracted to you now. We don't look the same in 5 years. We don't think the same in 5 years. We don't act the same in 5 years. You can be hurt in the relationship. You can be, I was a cheater, not with this, but I was a cheater. I just keep it 100. I was a cheater because that's what I saw. That's what I thought a relationship was about. I never stayed in a relationship. This is my longest relationship, and I'm 53 years old. I've never been in a relationship past 3 years. And that's because if I wasn't satisfied, if I didn't like it, I just moved on because that's what I thought was supposed to be done. There was no communication. It was hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back. But with my
Mm.
spouse now, over the years, I learned that it's not about leaving, but it's about staying in that moment just to communicate and see so that I didn't miss out. And I haven't.
Wow.
And even have my children.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so you talked about being a cheater. This is just like going off
Yes.
on because I know
It's
you just
okay.
have so many pieces that we could unravel during this
Yes,
conversation
ma'am.
and we need to
Yes.
definitely have more conversations about. But when you talk about that, I know,
Hmm.
sometimes, especially when it's the man doing it, we kind of think and have a problem with and think, oh, it'll never change.
That's
But
right.
coming from, or that person will never change. I mean, not that we can change them. That's a
That's right.
conversion experience, right?
That's
They
right.
have to be transformed and they have to
That's
accept and be willing to allow that to happen. But it's not
that's true.
something that you would do as an individual trying to change your spouse. But you said you were a cheater.
When I was younger,
Um,
yes.
yes. How would you say, um, or what would you say to to someone who may feel as if, I am this, and then there's nothing I can do, and this is just what it is. Because obviously you've changed, because you're saying now you've been in a relationship for
Definitely.
over 24 years, and that's not the
Yes.
story now.
No,
So
not at all.
things can change.
They can. But it's acknowledgement though. That was my key. It was acknowledging because, for me at a younger age, mine was because okay, you did it, so I can do it. That's what I saw. That's what was
Yes.
popular. That's what was going on. I'm not satisfied, so somebody else can do it. So for me, it was acknowledging the truth. It wasn't focusing on, oh, he's a male, he's a cheater. It was me, I wasn't satisfied. So I wanted to, do something different. But the key was I never sat down to get to know anybody. I never sat down to communicate. I never, I was aggressive. I didn't want to hear what you had to say. It was my way or the highway. And most of the time I just chose the highway, but
Mhm.
in this relationship, it was completely different. But the difference was I gave my life to Christ. The difference was I acknowledged who I was. The difference was I had realized that I had never been in love before. I had children. I was never in love. I didn't know what real love was. I didn't know what it was like to
Wow.
be loved for who you are. And one of the biggest things that I did with my husband is I told him the truth. When I met him, I let him know the truth of who I was, what I've
Yes.
done, everything that I did, who I was. Therefore, when he made the decision to marry me, he could never turn a corner and hear something about me that he didn't already know, or that would embarrass him or would make him change his mind. So I think that's the key. When
Wow.
you change your life to be something different, just be truthful, because it's giving that person a choice, because he has a choice who he wants to choose, just like I had a choice. So we chose each other. That was my key.
Awesome. And love made a
Mhm.
difference, right? Love made a difference.
It
And, and
did.
and that really goes, yes, goes back to knowing who you are as an
Yes.
individual, like knowing you and loving you and appreciating,
Yes.
accepting you. If that isn't there, it's just hard to go in a relationship and be who you need to be
It is.
in that relationship.
It
It,
is because
it,
you
it-
set up
it's it's
walls.
difficult to do. And so,
It
yeah, one
is.
of the things that we teach, and that's something that, is really important, even when we work with couples and when we do work with individuals. It's start with you first. You have to know
Yes.
you. You have to love you. You have to know your values. You have to know what it is you stand for. You have to be complete and whole in yourself
That's
before
right.
joining and connecting with someone else. And even if you are now, say you're married already, still begin that journey with yourself. Still
Yes.
begin that journey and know who you
Because
are, love yourself, and appreciate, because then that will kind of help you avoid a whole lot
a
of
lot of
problems
trouble.
down the road.
Yes. And
Know
Linda,
you.
if you don't love you, how do you
Definitely,
expect
definitely.
them to love you? Think about it. If you don't really love you, how do you expect them to love you? Because when we don't, and I was that person, I loved my body, but I didn't love Gwen. That was the difference between me then and the difference in me now. Now I've learned to love Gwen because it's not your booty, it's your inner beauty. But before, that's the thing that I
Yep.
focused on. But when I learned to love me, then I was able to let him see the raw me so that he can love me too. So he can get everything about you. Because the hardest thing I think with couples is thinking that that person. There's a lot of, I think that we as people and as couples, we as a couple, you have so many layers like an onion to pull back. There are some things that they don't want to share because they're
Yeah.
not comfortable with it, or they don't think that you're going to accept it, or they don't, they think that it's wrong, or they're embarrassed by it. But if you are truthful, I believe that as couples, we can continue to grow. Even if your marriage is in trouble now, mine wasn't always perfect. There was plenty times that hey, we're going to just get a divorce, because divorce is easy. It was easy to say, I want to go sign
Yeah.
some paperwork in some points in time. It takes a little work, but it's worth working it. If you work it, it's
Yeah.
worth working it. That's
Hmm.
my biggest advice to any couple. If you're willing to work it, it is worth working it.
Yep, definitely. And if you do the work, it will pay off,
It
right?
will pay off.
Um,
Yes.
yes, because like you said, sometimes we want to take the easy way out, and the easy
We
way
do.
out is not talking about it. Let the problems build up. Not
Yes.
satisfy your spouse. Not let them know that
Yes.
they're not satisfying you. Not have those conversations. When you have a problem, put your head, just argue about it and then forget about it, or don't even mention it. And then
Yes.
it just piles up so much, and before you know it,
And
you're at the point
right.
where, you know what, it's just so easy to just walk away from this because it's just too
It is.
much, too much.
It is.
When if gradually and bit by bit you were tackling and dealing with the issues,
You can
you
work it.
could handle it. It would be manageable. But then so many times we just want to give up.
And you know, another piece of advice that I genuinely have for women, and I teach my girls this: don't use sex as a weapon. It's not a
Yeah.
weapon. It's supposed to be something that's joyous, that's amazing, that's filled with love, that's good. And men, you too, you have to stop using money as a weapon. You have to stop
Mm,
using your providing as a weapon. You know, we men tend to stop doing what they're doing as well. And you can't survive if one decides, I don't want to do this no more, or even if they want to check out a half of it. You know, a lot of people say, I'm giving 50-50 in this relationship, right? I don't believe that. I believe that it's 100-100. Because if you're giving me 50, then you're shortchanging me. But if I'm giving you 100 and you giving me 100, then I don't see where we can just go wrong at. Now, sometimes it just doesn't work. But again, if you work it and you put the work in, it'll work it. It'll work itself. It genuinely will. It will.
definitely,
Yes.
definitely. Wow, wow. Any more points? Those of you who are watching, if you have a comment, question, go ahead, put it in the comments. We are talking about how to satisfy your spouse. We have Gwen Lee with us all the way from Dallas, Texas, and we
Hi,
are
guys.
just having a great time just talking,
Yes.
and she is just being open and real and sharing because guess what? Ooh, and we definitely have to have her back because it's just so many onions and layers to peel back with
Yes.
this
It
conversation.
is. It
But
really
yeah,
is.
definitely you have to catch us in our Unique Couples Marriage Club, where we go deeper, and you can definitely deep dive into all of the videos and all of the sessions and workbooks and all of the training that we have there, and date nights and activities and the things that you can do
Yes.
on a daily basis, those strips of love that you can do and take for your relationship. Definitely, you want to be a part of our marriage club. Okay, so you want to
Amen.
be a part of
Amen.
our marriage club. It's the things that you do on a daily basis that is going to make the
It
difference.
is a
Okay, it's
big
going
difference.
to make the difference. Yeah. So join us for our Unique Couples Marriage Club. Okay, Gwen. So we're talking about how to satisfy your spouse. Any word for the men? We have some men watching as well. Any word for the men? What can they do to satisfy their
I
spouse?
think I think my advice, because I'm not a man, but one of the things that over the years that I've learned, be mindful, and this is for men and women, but it's very prevalent. Be mindful of your single friends. When you're in a relationship, you can't do what your single friends do. You can't be a man and insert your masculinity to do what you want to do. Like, I'm not your husband, or I'm grown and I can stay out as late as I want to. You have to consider the other person. And I'm always telling people, it's not that just because you're married, you can't have single friends. You just have to know your boundaries. You
Yeah.
know, and I know a lot of men that are married and they hang out with their single friends. So you think that it's okay to be married and you go where your single friends go. You got to be mindful of that because y'all are not on the same level. Y'all not thinking the same. So you have to be mindful of what you are allowing to come into your life. You have to be mindful of the friends. And I tell my sons, you know, because I do have 3 sons and 3 daughters.
Ooh.
And I always tell them to be mindful of their homeboys because you don't really know. Like, I heard this on one of the radio stations. I heard a guy say this and it just blew my mind. And what he said was, your wife may be a 7, or your mate may be a 7 or a 6 to you, but around the people that you're hanging with, they look more like a 10. So you
Ooh.
got to be mindful that you're taking care of your business, because what you don't want, one man's treasure trash is another man's treasure. So I
That's
tell the
right.
men, be mindful of your single friends, because what you're telling them your business. Even women, you know, we get comfortable, we talk about our business. I believe that your bedroom business is off limits to your homies. That's just off limit. That's your private parts, unless you're going to someone who's, you know, your mentor, your pastor, your leader. But I think for the men, I think the biggest thing is the mindset of, I can still do what my single friends do because I can still hang with my single friends. And I don't think that's gonna work. I don't
No,
think that's a good
definitely
thing.
not.
No.
Definitely
Mm-mm.
not. So there has to be consideration for, hey,
Yes,
yes, you do have a wife. You do need to consider her needs and put those first and not just
that's
think of
right.
yourself, right?
That's
Not just think of
yes.
yourself. Definitely. Definitely. Okay, so we're wrapping up because we definitely need to come back and do
Amen.
some more of this talk. But let us know any more of things that we talked about boundaries. We talk about making sure you have the mutual conversation. We talked
Yes.
about hearing his words and not just his voice, but actually hearing what we said. We talk about pleasing
Yes.
each other, talk about all these things. Anything else we can do? Speak to the ladies. What can you do to satisfy give us your finals.
My final thoughts is always remember this, ladies. What it took to get him is the same thing it's going to take to keep him. Don't leave out the little small nuggets, the little small things. They really do matter. Thanking him, being appreciative of who he is as a man, as a provider, as a father. I know when I grew up, it was easy to hear a woman belittle the father in front of the children just because she's not satisfied. But I learned the same thing it took for me to get him is the same thing it's going to take for me to keep him, even though I have grown, I have progressed, and I have changed. And I think that is so important. Don't take away what got him. Keep that in the relationship, and it'll keep it spicy. Yeah.
Don't take away what got him. That's it, right? That's
Don't
it.
take
So
away
whatever
what got
you did,
Yes.
whatever you did to get, you have to do to continue to keep him, right?
Yes.
And then, so many times too, we take it for granted. We kind of
get comfortable.
Yes, with even how we look and the things we do, we just get comfortable because I mean that's what it is. Once we married and we get comfortable, we just kind of like let go. But we have to caution and remember, ladies, that we can't just take things for granted. We have to be continually learning about our spouse. And Vito likes to call it get your spouseology degree. So we talk about in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. Get your spouseology degree, like learn more about your spouse, learn more about pleasing and connecting with your spouse, being intimate, being their best friend, connecting and really having that bond with your spouse. And that's with every area. And it's not a one-time thing like Valentine's. People just think, oh, it's Valentine's and then that's it. No, it's not just one big occasion. It's the daily things that you do. The daily things, the small little things over time that's going to make a big difference.
Yes, that's exactly what it is right there. It's the small things over time that's going to make a huge difference.
And like you said, whatever you did to get him, you do it to keep him.
Because think about it, when we first started dating them, I don't know about anyone else, but when I first started dating my husband, I was just excited. Like, oh, he's coming over. Oh, I'm going over there. With my spouse, I learned things that I'd never done before. I've done things that I'd never done before. They weren't bad things, but they were things that pleased him. They were things that made him happy. Well, at 53, I can't do what I did at 23 or 33, but I can still make sure that I'm listening because his needs change too, guys. I don't care if man or woman, our needs change, and just to continue to focus on, like you said, as a group, as a whole, us as a whole, to continue to focus on that, you can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong with it if you continue to get that, what you say, Vito called it?
That spouseology
degree.
Yes.
You get that spouseology degree, it's something else. That's a whole nother ball game right there. That's a
definitely. Definitely. So those of you who are married and you're not in the Unique Couples Marriage Club, go ahead. The link is in the description. Go ahead and join. And yes, it is an investment because guess what? If it matters to you, you will put in the investment. You will invest because all those things, the best things in life, well, they say they are free, but someone had to pay for it. And in this case, you're paying for to get that extra, to get that more, to really take your relationship to the next level. Because think about and just imagine what you have to pay to get that divorce. And no one gets married thinking about getting that divorce. If you could turn back the hands of time and think about, you know what, if I had just joined that club and did those daily activities that they suggested and really connected with my spouse and really worked on those areas with communication, intimacy, friendship, trust, all of these finances and work on all of these areas, then maybe I wouldn't be in the position that I am where I'm now getting divorced. Because guess what? Divorce is going to be more expensive. So go ahead, invest in your marriage. Join us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. Skip lunch for a week, every week, and you'll be able to afford it. Go ahead and connect. Join us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. So Gwen, loving this conversation. We will definitely have it continue. Definitely. And you guys will be seeing more of Gwen. So listen out, tune out. So Gwen, let us know how let our viewers know how they can reach you on social media, how they could connect with you.
Okay.
Um,
You guys can reach me on Facebook at Gwen Lee, or you can reach me on Facebook at Gwen Lee Ministries. And we would love to, whatever you need. And I definitely suggest that you all join this. We see a lot of couples on Facebook, but you see content. You don't see real life advice, real life nuggets, real life love things, real life love language. So I would just suggest that you guys definitely join Unique Couples and learn those nuggets. I mean, I don't care how long you've been in your marriage, learning something new every day or every other month or every week will definitely spice it up. And I think it'll definitely build your marriage. So invest, like she said, you have to invest in your marriage. You have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in your family. You have to invest in anything you want. We invest in cars. We invest in houses. Why not invest in your marriage?
Sorry, definitely. If it matters to you, you would put in the time, you would put in the effort,
Yep.
you would put in
Yes.
the resources. If it's important to you, and if your marriage is important to you, and it should be, because your relationship affects so much more.
It
You
does.
have problems in your marriage, and you go on your job, and then you're a terror on the job. You have problems in your
Yo,
marriage, and it affects how you relate to your children, it affects how you relate to
that's
other people, so it's just all connected. So we want you to have those healthy marriages. We want you
healthy
to
relationships.
be a strong couple. We want you to have those strong healthy relationships, because it does matter. And we are so thankful for our sponsors who made this possible. We want to
Thank
give a
you.
special shout out to all of our sponsors and supporters. Here to please, creation the nail creation by Anna, Party with Serenity, Style Me Pretty, Cornerstone Insurance, Build Your Best Life with Deborah D. Smith, Total Grace Solution with Thaddeus and Amanda, Alouette Design, and you, right? You.
Yes.
Each of you who
You.
come on every Sunday night and join us live. And those of you who catch the replay and come and join us, we thank you. And for those of you who are watching and you want to be a sponsor, you want to say, hey, we love what you're doing and we want you to continue to do so, go ahead and type in sponsor, message us, and let us know that you want to sponsor a program. And that is going to be awesome. We can continue working and doing what we do. So, yes, we love, love, love. I say,
Yeah.
nothing happens without excitement. Nothing happens without excitement. And
That's
so
right.
you need that in your marriage. You need that in your bedroom, especially.
We do.
Definitely. I'm excited about
Me too.
my marriage, and I want you to be excited. Want you
I
to be
know.
excited as well, because guess what? You get what you focus on. So
That's
if
right.
you're all focused on pleasing your spouse and connecting with your spouse, you'll get that. You'll see the benefits of that,
Right.
and you'll get more of that. So we want to encourage you to do so. Thank you so much. I don't know if you had
Thank
anything
you.
else you wanted to add, Gwen, before we leave.
No,
Thank you
just
so much
thank
for
you guys so
sharing
much.
on that. Definitely. So those of you watching, go ahead. Remember, we share. We love sharing.
Amen.
Not our spouse. Not our spouse. Let's get
Not
that right. Not our
get it
spouse.
correct now.
We love sharing the information. We love letting people know, because that's what all of our marriages can be healthy. So let
It can.
someone know about this conversation. Share the link with them and let them know. Go and watch it. Um, let's all have healthy marriages, because that's what we're all
Amen.
about. We're all about building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and happier families, because it matters. Love you all. We will see y'all in the marriage, in our Unique Couples Marriage Club. Go ahead and join us. Join us for our challenges. Those of you who are in our How to Strengthen Your Marriage group, we have some giveaways and challenges coming up.
Yes.
Be sure to join us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and wherever social media is. You can find us, Unique Couples. Love you all. We will see you later. Good
Bye,
night.
guys.
Bye. Thanks for joining us. And remember
Thank
to
you guys for
share,
having me.
share, share. Thank you so much, Gwen.
Thank you, guys.